Hi everybody. I think you can hear me. It sounds like it's working. Yeah, what we call the graveyard shift, where everyone's really tired. Some people have gone home. So I try to be quick and not put you to sleep. Really quickly about me. I work in heavy industries, so I'm not just marine. I work across construction, mining, infrastructure, transport, you name it. My job is to kind of understand the trends across all of those industries. One of the big things that I do is evaluate technology startups and SMEs and help people make decisions about what to invest in, how to bring those tech startups into their business. And outside of work, I used to play a lot of rugby. I'm a big computer nerd and I do lots of DIY, so I thought I'd kind of give it a personal touch. I now work for Safetytech Accelerator. We're a startup ourselves, but we're an offshoot of Lloyd's Register, so big legacy firm doing class and all sorts of stuff like that, and decided to create effectively an innovation consultancy. There's about 15 of us, and our job is to kind of think differently, help people disrupt. We were established in 2018, and like I say, we're a kind of tech accelerator / consultancy. We do a lot of different things, if I'm honest. Our focus is on safety and risk, but generally when people think about technology, they're not just thinking about one thing, they're thinking about how can they get better, how can they do things faster, reduce risk, remove people from harm. So we look across the spectrum when it comes to priorities. Very quickly, how do people make better decisions when it comes to emerging technologies? The premise being that you read a lot about this tech, but it's really difficult to actually get practical, functional outcomes from it. And that's what we do. And we cover technology and innovation across all critical industries. We work with a lot of big names. We're trusted by some really big clients, and we're very proud of that, even though we've only been around for a few years. We've got big names, long relationships, because we create results. So, today I'm going to focus on something called our Cargo Fire and Loss program, which is a membership program that we run with a number of different clients where we address risk topics within maritime on an individual basis. So if cargo fires and loss is the kind of overall topic, we break that down into individual focus areas. Clients pay us a membership fee and we tackle this problem collaboratively. We pilot technology, we do research to help solve the problem. I kind of I won't bore you with why we need to tackle cargo fires and loss. The anchor partners in the program, these are the kind of people that are interested in solving this problem. It's not just ship owners. We have UK P&I and TT Club as well. Why would you do things collaboratively? I already know what my answer is going to be when you say what should we change. It's going to be more collaboration. The point is, investing in novel technology is difficult, it's risky, it requires a lot of, investigation and research. So if everyone pools their resource to tackle problems together, it makes a massive amount of sense from an economies of scale perspective. How does the program work? So like I say, we filter off challenges from the main topic. Challenge 1 was early fire detection in the hold. Challenge 2 was early fire detection on deck. And now challenge 3 is container loss, and we're producing more challenges. Partners decide what the problem is. We scope the problem in detail. We source technology companies. We do a lot of analysis, due diligence, deep dives, and then we pilot technologies with the partners, see if it works in the real world, and then if people want, they now know what technology they can actually purchase, understanding that it will work, and we produce all sorts of collateral like this. So the first topic that we looked at was early fire detection. I don't know if people know a lot about fire detection on ships, but it's typically optical smoke detectors. A short history on smoke detection, but in 1930, someone realized that smoke particles disrupt circuits, and they created a smoke detector called an ionized smoke detector. In about 1960, someone realized that if you shoot a beam of light, and that connects to a circuit. Smoke particles will disrupt the beam of light, and you can use an analog circuit to create a signal to say that you've got smoke. 50 years later, that's still what we're using, and there's been some minor upgrades to those systems, but in SOLAS, in the IMO, you need an optical smoke detector, which is now 75 years old. So we're kind of looking at this thinking, surely there must be something better. But technology is not as easy as we think. So we looked at a number of different technologies for this, from fiber optic, wrapping fiber optic around cargo holds, really sensitive, it's a lot of work. We looked at infrared cameras, can you detect gas, IoT, wireless temperature probes. There's a lot of different ways in which you could potentially disrupt this market. But we also looked at 2 or 3 really disruptive. So if we look at something like fiber optic, has been around for 20, 30, 40 years, but you're overlaying AI onto it and it's suddenly becoming pretty clever. But we're also working with some AI startups who are offering completely novel solutions to this problem. And I'll talk a little bit about what they do. So usually I just kind of run through some of the stuff that we're seeing, but a really big focus for us has been looking at other industries. As I've said, marine, it's kind of 75 years old, the approach we're using. So one of the things we did was we looked at the forest fire detection industry. This has seen a real boom, sadly, due to forest fires. It's seen a boom in research and development, investment from government, lots of startups coming up with new ways to solve this problem. And what they're doing is not just using a smoke detector, but they're attaching multiple gas, volatile organic compound sensors, particle sensors like smoke detectors. They cluster them on a chip and use a layer of analytics and artificial intelligence to start to interpret the results from those various sensors. So you're no longer using just smoke, you're using a variety of indicators. And with AI, we can start to get a faster response. One of the things that we're doing is actually exploring how feasible it would be for container vessels to replace their smoke detectors with IoT multi-sensors taken from the forest fire industry. And we're looking at probably around a kind of 20% improvement to performance, which might seem significant, might seem insignificant to some, but this is technology that's really available now. The advanced version of this, and this is the kind of next generation, this isn't stuff that's available now, but we're working with a tech company who are using carbon nanotubes, so basically really minute cylindrical carbon tubes which ingest different molecules from the air. What those different molecules do is create a signature within the nanotube. And this means that actually you're no longer detecting an individual gas, but actually you are detecting almost a flavor or a smell or a completely analog scent from the air. So you don't have to program this to detect a certain smell. What this means is we're actually looking at a really revolutionary step change towards technology behaving in the way that a human nose would. And I'll give you an example of the performance differential that we've looked at in the lab with this. We looked at the smouldering fire, so a fire that really doesn't produce much smoke and it doesn't produce it very quickly. The nanotechnology eNose started giving us a signature that we could map on, so we have to train an AI to interpret the signature in the nanotubes. So it's not all plain sailing. The nanotechnology eNose kind of started to produce a response in maybe kind of 2 to 3 minutes. We didn't actually get to the point we ran out of time in the laboratory before the smoke detector that's used on ships now was able to respond. So we're looking at a revolutionary change in the sensitivity, but also the ability to detect different smells, because the trouble is certain fires produce signatures that a smoke detector is not very good at detecting. We also look at things that are available very much now, so thermal imaging, using advanced thermal cameras to detect radiated heat from containers seems like an obvious solution. It's not so obvious once you start trying to put these on the deck of a container ship. even cameras that are super robust, the reality is it's really expensive. So it's not something we're recommending people do right now. But it's very, very capable. You are still waiting for radiated heat to leave a container, so you're still going to be waiting 20 minutes or so for that past ignition. Fiber optic, really interesting. Old technology, been around for a long time, been repurposed for internet. It's now being repurposed for fire detection. The fiber reacts to heat, and you wrap it around a cargo hold, and then you use an artificial intelligence to start to detect changes in the wire to heat. It's hypersensitive, so sensitive in fact that what we found was the fiber optic was responding to really slight changes in sea temperature. So you think, oh, this is going to be fantastic, it's really sensitive. We actually heated up a single container and thought we're going to look for the signature of the heated container. What we found was that the cable was really telling us where in the world you were based on the temperature of the sea. The fiber was so sensitive, it's picking up exhaust fumes from electronic containers. It's picking up, going from the north to the south of the Earth. So very capable, but the reality is you're going to need a lot of configuration. You're not only going to need to stick the cable around the hold, but you're going to need to create an algorithm that can detect the difference between a fire that you're interested in and the fact that a piece of machinery or another heat, something producing heat is making it fire. So we're kind of hesitant on this. Promising but hesitant, expensive and difficult. This is another real disruptor. So again, using a very old technology really, which is radio signals, we're working with a tech company who fire the radio signals around the ship, and they have devices that fire the signal and devices that receive the signal. What happens is you can teach an algorithm to understand the change in that signal from when it leaves to when it's received by another device. And you can teach an algorithm to understand that the change in the signal represents a change in something that's happened between. And that could be a change in pressure, it could be someone entering or leaving, it could be a temperature change. This can detect a temperature change to 0.5 degree. So we're looking at a completely revolutionary. We have to wait for a container to heat up to 500 degrees before the outside of the container reaches is hot enough to be detected by heat. This is really challenging, but it's extremely promising. And again, just like the nanotech eNOS, we're looking at how AI can completely disrupt, using sometimes quite traditional technology, the way in which we detect fires. But this could offer you solutions for detecting almost anything if you could train it to do so. Okay, this is a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Third challenge, we're on to navigation. The third challenge that our clients within the program wanted us to look at is actually decision support systems for the avoidance of container loss. So completely different, but within the realm of cargo fires and loss. We looked at top tier. I'm not really expecting you to read that, but we looked at the top tier report. We're connected to LR. A lot of our clients worked on top tier, and top tier is producing very specific recommendations in terms of technology and what you should be employing to avoid cargo loss, container loss. So we've distilled the top tier recommendations into a technology brief and analyzed the market to see who is actually going to be able to offer technology solutions in a realistic way that can respond to top tier. So we're kind of looking at being the follow-on technology accelerator to top tier here. Ultimately what this comes down to, people need really clear real-time markers for predicting parametric roll, ship motion, wave height. It needs to be extremely intuitive, and also looking at lashing quality, lashing strain. It's all pretty obvious, right? But actually, we need to make sure we really evaluate technology companies on their claims. So this is just a quick example of the kind of output that our partners get in the program. So we do a deep analysis. We're actually looking at 15 different technology companies who are responding to this challenge. And we make recommendations on who they should bring, how we should structure pilots to test them. Hold on. I'm missing a slide, apologies. But there's a few different, if we go back to this challenge, there's a few different ways in which people are solving the challenge of providing information to crew. You have really traditional sensor companies who have made sensors for the last 20 years, and they can tell you we've got 5,000 sensors in flight with Maersk and Evergreen and who names it. They're starting to kind of provide analytics and overlays to those sensors. You have really novel startups who haven't been in marine for very long, but are looking to gather weather data, ship motion. They say stick an iPhone in the bridge, and that will be enough accelerometer data. You've got people suggesting you need to put radars on the ship. You have people sticking sensors on lashing bridges. There's a few different categories of technology that we're evaluating here, and I can't really talk more about it because we're in the middle of evaluating these with our clients. But there's different sorts of organizations trying to solve this problem in different ways. But the interesting thing is that nobody is really offering a final solution here. So if someone says to you, we're going to solve this problem, we're going to tell your crew exactly when parametric roll comes, we're going to give you accurate wave height, roll motion, all in a really comprehensive dashboard, they're probably lying, or we don't know about them and we've missed them, and please let me know who they are. But the reality here is, if you want to try and address this problem with technology, you're going to need to be partnering with someone who's in the middle of developing their solution, and you need to be okay with that, because it's not going to solve all of your problems straight away. But that's what we're trying to do in the program. Just to close out, over and above all of the things that I've kind of talked about, we're going to be mobilizing a really major fire detection test. We want to be telling the IMO exactly what the new technology is that you should be replacing smoke detectors with. We want to be giving really, really clear directions as to the cost, the layout, the function of different technologies for fire detection. We know we're 15 years ahead of regulatory change. We don't care, if people want to use it, they should use it. We're also moving into two new challenges. One is going to be pre-loading, pre-cargo loading scanning, which is really tricky to get terminals involved in because they seem to think it's a ship problem. And then firefighting and suppression is our next challenge. So thank you very much. Apologies for going over, I think. And grab me if any of that interested you.
Thank you.